a strange thing happened. I ended the last video with this slide that said, and now let's talk about fractional equations. And I was taken aback because I didn't plan on doing that for a little while. And then I went to restart with the next video in the sequence from the slideshow, and the slide was no longer there. So I don't know what's up with that. But anyway, let's go to a topic I would have preferred to have covered. What if there are no solutions, or what if there are many solutions? So let's look at this example on the left. I think you can follow along. We distribute the 2, and on the right-hand side of the equation on the left, we get 2x plus 6, and then we subtract 2x from both sides, and I get 0 equals 6. That's obviously absurd. 0 never equals 6, okay? It's what we call these solutions inconsistent, okay? It's a word you should recognize. There is no solution to this. The way I think it can best be explained and understood is, if it's never true, and it is never true that 0 is equal to 6. If it's never true, there's never a solution, okay? Now let's take a look on the right-hand side and see, what do we do if we get one like this that we go to solve? Well, I get 3 plus 2x equals, distribute, 3x plus 3 minus x. 3 plus 2x equals, now a little same side, same operation here. The 3x and the negative x add up to 2x. And I subtract 2x's from both sides. And now I get something completely different. Now I don't get 0 equals 6. I get 3 equals 3. So in this case, it is a situation where they're always equal. And if it's always true, if they're always equal, then anything is always a solution, any value of x. All real numbers work. Now, are you going to get equations like this? Very rarely. But we do want to call them to your attention so that if you see them, you're a little more comfortable with them. All right. A little bit of an example here. The formula P equals 15 plus 5D over 11. Let's take a look at what this is. What I would like you to do is a little stop and start. Try to answer all these questions, and then I will show you the answers. Okay. So here's my work on scrap paper. At first it says, at what depth is the pressure? You know what? I'm going to go back for a second because I want to see this. The formula describes the pressure in pounds per square foot and the depth. So D is depth, P is pounds. At what depth is the pressure 30 pounds per square foot? Okay, so now let's call this in. The depth is at what depth is the pressure 30? So I put down the pressure is 30, P is 30, equals 15 plus 5D over 11. That's just the formula. So, you know, I see that I have an opposite side, opposite operation, a standard two-stepper, if you will, with the 15 on the right. Usually it's on the left, but it's no big deal. Peaking in front. We don't want to fall victim to danger, danger, danger. That's add negative 15 to both sides, however you want to term it, subtract 15. Bottom line is 30 minus 15 is 15. And that's going to equal the 5D over 11 that remains. Now, at this point, it's so much easier to do it with the calculator. You just take the calculator and you do 15 divided by 5/11ths, and bam, out pops your answer, namely the answer of 33. But if you don't have access to a calculator, you should remember that when you divide a fraction, you flip and multiply. So I take what would have been this 5/11ths that I have to divide by, and I multiply by 11/5. Again, I flip it, 5/11ths becomes 11/5, and I multiply. On the left-hand side, 5 will go into 15 3 times. 11 times 3 is 33. Or you could do 11 times 15, and that's 165, and divide by 5 and get 33. And on the right-hand side, we get like a die-die delight going on here. The 5s go die-die. The 11s go die-die. It's like an incredible alien abduction where they get more than one person at a time. Or Sasquatch scores big with a bunch of squishing. However you want to look at it. The only thing left on the right is D. Now again, to me, it's so much easier to do on your calculator. All right, now letter B talks about this time, well, what if the pressure is 201? What depth are we talking about? So I plug in a 201 for the pressure, and minus 15 to both sides, 186, just like before. Divide by 5/11. I wrote the step this way this time, so you could see both ways of writing it. And if we do that, again, so much easier on the calculator, we get 409.2. So that's pretty impressive to me that we went 409.2 feet under the surface. I certainly couldn't do that. All right. All right. Now, formulas. Formulas contain two or more letters, and they represent two or more variables. For example, real simple one. Formula for perimeter of a rectangle is P, perimeter, is 2L plus 2W. And that means the perimeter is 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. If I drew a rectangle in front of you, and the length was 10 and the width was 5, then the perimeter is, there's 2 10s, that's 20, and there's 2 5s, that's 10. 20 and 10 makes 30, that would be the perimeter. That's the formula. You guys have seen it for a long time. We could say that the formula is solved for P because it says P equals. If we solve for X, it make it say X equals. If we solve for N, it says N equals. In this case, we solve for P because it says P equals. But it is possible to transform formulas. For example, let's transform that perimeter formula. I put the P on the right here. 2W plus 2L equals P. Doesn't matter left or right. For W. In other words, make it say W equals. Now, a lot of times kids are like, look at all these letters. The letters are driving me crazy. It's easier. Way easier. Because you cannot make a sloppy mistake, or it's virtually impossible to make a sloppy mistake when there's no numbers involved. I'll show you what I mean. Get W by itself. That's what we want to do at this point in time. All right. All I want to do at this point, I'm not actually going to solve them. I'll do that a little bit later. But at this point, we want to get W by itself. For the next one, we want to get X by itself because it says solve for X. What about the next one? It says solve for L. What does that tell you to do? Get L by itself. And what about the last one? Get R by itself. Okay, so these are called literal equations or formulas. Now, let's go back, take these away. That's the directions that we have to say. Now let's show you just how easy it is to do this work, okay? You want to solve for W, which means get W by itself. So the first thing I have to do is get rid of the 2L. That says plus 2L. I do the opposite, minus 2L. Notice that leaves only a 2W on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side it says P minus 2L. Now what the heck is P minus 2L? I don't care. Makes no difference to me. What I know is I don't even have to use a calculator. I don't have to press buttons. I don't have to do any math in my head. All I do is write P minus 2L. Now, up until here, this part, 2W equals, I still don't have W by itself, so now I need to divide by 2. And once I get once I divide by 2, I get W equals P minus 2L over 2. That's my answer. It's extremely important. I can't tell you how important it is to make sure it says W equals. It'll say W equals P minus 2L over 2. We should really cross out the 2's here. I didn't do it, sorry. That's because I don't have a pen to do it with on the PowerPoint. Let's try this one. Solve the formula for X, Y equals MX plus B. Want to get the X all by itself? I subtract B from both sides, and then I divide both sides by M, and I get Y minus B over M. You hear my dogs going nuts. I really apologize. My wife is just getting home, so they're barking like crazy for her. All right, next up, get the L by itself, so I have to divide by W. L equals A over W. Next one's a little tricky. Start with A equals pi r squared. I want to get R by itself, so I divide by pi. So A over pi equals R squared. I died or alien abducted the pi's, whatever you want to say. But then I have to square root. That's a little tricky. R equals A, the square root of A over P. All right. We will pick up with percent next. Hopefully the dogs shut up for the next video.